this is where you get to the idea of pietism, right? Christian pietism, which is that the Christian's role has nothing to do with government. We shouldn't say anything in the political sphere. Like we're just here on church. We're these little Christians running around. We're just supposed to run around and tell people about Jesus, and that's it. That's our only role. And it's like, whoa, you have literally abstracted away like the entire life component of the gospel.
Exactly.
If you do that, the organized societal, you have to live with your neighbors, govern the whole nine. You have taken it all away. If you just think your goal is to just be this random outpost that really shouldn't be here, but is here, I don't know,
Right. When you converted and you said, Jesus is Lord, you made a political statement.
Yeah.
You made a political statement that Jesus is the king of the whole universe, right? All authority on heaven and earth has been given to Jesus. And what you're saying is, I serve him first, and I serve those whom he has put in authority over me second.
Yeah, and you are accountable to him whether you like it or not either.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
and that is what got 11 of the 12 apostles killed effectively. They got killed by governments because they went around and told people about King Jesus.
Right. We don't think of Jesus as Lord as a political statement in America, but Nero definitely thought that was a political statement.
Oh, hey man, dude, I just want to put what you just said on loop and just send that around like that's it.
Nero definitely thought that was a political statement. Nero definitely thought that was a political statement. Nero definitely thought that was a political statement.
His call's over.
He was killed under Nero because he said Jesus is Lord. But what does Jesus say about this whole tension between following God, right, submitting to Jesus, and submitting to government? He says, well, render to Caesar what is Caesar's, and render to God what is God's.
Yeah.
Well, what is Caesar's? Your taxes.
Well, and I don't know if I forget if I've sent you this book, but anyway, in this book that I read on Romans 13, the guy points out, several preachers I've listened to point out, render to Caesar what is Caesar's, and what is God is what is to God what is God's. You to Caesar, because what Caesar has is God's, right? Caesar's role was instituted by God, by Rome.
That's what Romans 13 is about.
Exactly. So that's
government is established to punish evildoers.
Yeah.
That's their role. Their role is to punish evildoers.
Their vocation is being an instrument of wrath.
Yes.
That is literally what they signed up to do.
They bear a sword so that they can kill evildoers who do evil against the citizens. The point I wanted to make with render to Caesar what is Caesar's, and render to God what is God's.
Woo!
That's fine. Render to Caesar what is Caesar's, or what's Caesar's? Your taxes, so that Caesar can basically be a force for terror.
Yep.
Right? But what is God's? Everything.
Everything. All of it.
Everything, including what's Caesar's.
Yep, including what's Caesar's. Yep.
Absolutely. So if I'm caught in a situation where I either have to obey God or obey Caesar, I have to obey God.
Yeah. And that is where this whole, and this is going to be a slight tangent, so I will not go very far, but just because we brought it up, this is where the whole issue with the police and whether the police are doing the right thing and whether they should be using force and all these things, their vocation is to punish evildoers.
Yes.
Like, can we have a desire to want to use more grace and mercy? And like for the gentleman in Rochester, his name's slipping my mind, who died in the street, get the man a blanket. Like, I think everyone watches that video. I was like, dude, get the man a blanket. Like, come on.
Blanket, clothes, something. Yeah.
Throw something under. Everyone's on that.
That was mishandled.
Sure. And there's a desire for, like, where was the humanity in that situation? No, I don't think anyone would debate that. But I will also not stand here and say that their job was not to do what they did. Like, that's where you have the whole, this was protocol debate and whatnot. Their vocation is not mental health counselor. Yes. Their vocation is not pastor. Yes. Their vocation is I show up with a gun to somebody who's using drugs, going around destroying property, violating other people's inalienable rights. And my job is to be a terror to them, instituted by God.
Yep, exactly.
And so
that's exactly it.
When you have a instituted group of individuals whose job is to be a terror to evildoers, their vocation is the wrath of God on people. When they come into a situation and somebody dies, it is not tragic every time somebody dies.
Right.
Like, the one thing that I am kind of sick and tired of hearing, and conservatives are bad at this, Republicans are bad at this, because they run around, they try to placate the situation a little bit and be like, oh, it's a tragedy, it's a tragedy, it's a tragedy. No, it's not. You know what's a tragedy? Is if that person went to hell. That's a tragedy.
Yeah.
Eternal death is a tragedy. Temporal death is not tragic, and it can happen without anybody being guilty of any sin. Because it's the job of the evil or the authorities to show up and be a terror to evildoers. The other person was doing evil, and maybe it wasn't handled the way we liked. Maybe there was, maybe there could have been better training, the whole 9 yards. But the whole situation can dissolve with somebody having passed away and nobody else having sinned in that death. And it does not have to be labeled a tragedy. We have to, if we go around and just tell everything in life that happens as bad, like that's a tragedy, that's a tragedy, that's a tragedy, it loses its meaning. I think it's semantic.
What's that called? Like semantic bleaching or something like that?
Yeah, just what I said. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, every death is not a tragedy. I'm sorry. Like, and we're going to talk about that. I mean, the discussion really goes into the Second Amendments and use of weapons and whatnot, and we look at all the Bible passages. There is quite a lot of killing in the Old Testament, let me tell you, instituted by God, commanded by God, and he does not stand there and say, "Oh, it's tragic. It's tragic.
Right.
People are dead."
Right. Well, I'm confident that your death and my death will not be tragedies.
That too.
Because I will die and go to be with the Lord, and I'll be resurrected at the last. I'll live with him forever.
That can be celebrated.
Right. Exactly. It's like, hey, he's with the Lord now. Right. Yeah.
And not only that, dude, like I can't believe I just found this verse today. Like one of our friends, our good mutual friends, and I get into a debate about capital punishment all the time and like the death penalty.
Oh yes.
Just found the verse today where Paul is literally saying, "If I'm worthy of death, put me to death." Like Paul literally affirms in Acts 25, he affirms the death penalty. So it's literally
Well, and if you're a theonomist or even a theonomist light, then you read the book of Leviticus and it's like, you murder, you're put to death, right? You prophesy falsely, you're put to death. Like that was a thing back in the old back in Israel.
Yeah, God was hardcore with his people.
No, he didn't mess around at all.
No,
so